if you are not in agreement with it, you just not make the thumbs up. So my first statement is that chatbots are going to make life much more easier in the near future. So if you agree with this statement, you can just do the thumbs up. Chatbots are going to make life much more easier. If you agree with the statement, make the thumbs up. Electronic health records are going to make life difficult. Electronic health records are going to make life difficult. If you don't agree, thumbs down. Data science has come to stay and we must update ourselves. Thumbs up or thumbs down? I can't see hands, are you all listening? Data science has come to stay. Thumbs up or thumbs down? All right, thank you very much for that engagement. So you get to understand that our theme for today is very, very key, and it's essential for us as pharmacy students, as tech, people are aspiring to be tech innovators. So before I will call our president, I would like to say the theme for today is pharmacy informatics, leveraging tech to improve patient care. If you don't know the theme, you get that. So I'll be inviting the president in person of our both David and Mrs. to make the opening.
Thank you so much, Something, for that. Our greatest fan sites. Greatest fan sites. Good morning, all. Let me start by acknowledging our professor here present. Ma'am, thank you sincerely for coming to this occasion and this section of our class week. It means a lot to us. We want to learn under you. Of course, some of us, you are already a mentor, and at any point in time you speak in class, we just want to speak like you. We just want to act like you. We just want to do things like you. So I'm so happy that you're one of our panelists today. So I'm so glad that you also made to be here. Thank you, ma'am, for honoring us. All right. Again, I want to appreciate you from Oga Emmanuel. Thank you, sir, all the way from Lagos, coming here to grace this occasion. You've been here yesterday, and again, you'll be part of this section for the next 5 hours, actually. Okay, because you have two functions. After the symposium is the section for the farmer entrepreneur. So, sir, thank you for what you are doing. Already since yesterday, we started receiving comments, and it was so overwhelming and joy for me as president to see that faculty were sitting under your voice, actually admiring to be like you. Some already said, okay, how come is that family Mauga has not come to University of Jos since I've been in 100 level, and now I'm in 500 level about graduating, and I've lost some kind of track record. I will have keep a relationship with him and see that I build my vision to align with him. So there are lots of information we receive about your talk yesterday. It's very, very, very encouraging. I will be sharing some of them with you after this symposium. So, sir, thank you once again. And your team, we want to appreciate you, sir, and ma'am. Thank you for coming with Famoga Emmanuel to this occasion. Sincerely, again, I want to appreciate our virtual panelists, pharmacist Ranging, and also Dr. Usobeng, who will be joining us live from US this morning in respect to this symposium. Sincerely, in absentia, already they are waiting for me to just log them in. I'm appreciating them already, so thank you. Thank you for reaching, and thank you for them. Okay, so again, I want to appreciate most especially the chairman of this symposium. Victory is my classmate, but it's someone I learned under.
It sounds like you're expressing gratitude and appreciation. You're thanking someone for reading for today, and specifically acknowledging a special lady chair by an office. Could you tell me a little more about what you'd like to do with this statement? For example, are you looking for a way to phrase it more formally or informally? Wanting to add more detail about why you're thankful? Hoping to turn it into a written message, like an email or card? Just practicing how to say it? Let me know how I can help you refine or use this expression of thanks.
My team, the executive, PRO, and to the list, I really appreciate you for your work, doing well to ensure that this past week runs up. And also, sincerely, I want to appreciate our sponsors, most especially Farmer News, who is, of course, giving us souvenir to this symposium. And also, I want to appreciate the likes of Techno for a few persons that they are gifting today for their participation. And also, I must tell you that the executive are at every point in time open to receive your comments, your criticism, and any other thing. So please do well outside to sit tight and then under these icon leaders who have made exploits in our profession. I know at the end of the day you want to be like them. For me, already, I have a lot of them that I'm making. Aside from making, I've also, reached their profile and I've seen my own vision. It's a line one way or the other. So you can imagine that I cannot leave them until they impact me and release mantle of me, just like what used to happen in the Bible. So thank you so much, everyone. Good morning.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. President, for that wonderful opening remark and welcome address. So without much ado, I'll be introducing the first speaker for today, who is no other person but Professor Patricia Odumosu. And Patricia Odumosu is my lecturer and the founder level commerce today. I think she doesn't know me by name, not until today, because there's one thing she does in class. If she knows your name, you must answer her questions at all times, and she keeps you up on your toes. So, Prof. Patricia Odumosu is a Fulbright scholar. She's a Fulbright scholar to the US. She was a Fulbright scholar to the US in 2015. She's a lecturer in the Department of Pharmaceutical and Medicinal Chemistry within the Faculty of Pharmaceutical Sciences at the University of Jos Plateau State in Nigeria, where she has been teaching since 2001. She's the first female HOD and professor of the department. Prof. Odumosu. Prof. Odumosu holds a bachelor's degree in pharmacy from the University of Lagos in 1994, a master's degree in pharmaceutical chemistry (MSc) from the University of Lagos in 1998, a doctorate degree in pharmaceutical chemistry from the University of Sunderland in 2012, and a doctor of pharmacy degree from the University of Benin in 2021. Prof. Odumosu has been engaged in teaching and research for nearly 25 years, during which she has supervised numerous undergraduate and postgraduate research projects. She has also mentored many students, offering guidance and counseling to support their academic and professional development. She is involved in teaching and mentoring children and young adults in her local church and children's club, helping to guide them in their career and life choices. Prof. Odumosu believes that today's generation of young people is living in challenging times and needs proper guidance and mentorship to fully harness their potential. That is why she volunteers for various initiatives related to young adults, especially female young adults. She currently runs extramural chemistry classes for selected girls in SS2 and SS3 from within her local community. Prof. Odumosu's hobbies include reading, traveling, and volunteering. Let's join our hands together to welcome
Good morning, everyone. Thank you to the past President Abudeji and ESCO for granting me the opportunity to speak to you on this topic. And to our guest speaker, keynote speaker from Oga, welcome. We're glad to have you with us. And to everyone who's made out time to be here, thank you very much. I hope we worth the time spent here. I only have 20 minutes, and as you know, that's time for preamble. But I'll try and give it my best to just give you an overview of what pharmacy informatics is. Here. We're looking at leveraging technology to improve patient care. So, as an overview, we will look at what pharmacy informatics is. We'll look at the importance in healthcare. We'll look at the benefits of leveraging technology in pharmacy practice, and then setting the stage for the importance of informatics in patient care. Now, I'm sure every one of us has one gadget or the other that actually helps us with our work. Sandy just talked about ChatGPT. I didn't give a thumbs up because he didn't specify how it was going to be useful. It could be useful, but it could also make people lazy. Make people get really, really lazy because now they don't want to think. And if you're going to be innovative, you're going to be creative, you need to be able to think outside the box. What some of these aids or these tools do for you is they do the thinking for you. Is that okay? So depending on how you use it, yes, it could be useful, or it could have the opposite effect. So the technology of today is transforming countless industries, and healthcare is among them. From robotic surgeries to virtual visits, if you were around during the COVID era and you lived abroad, a lot of people couldn't go into the hospitals because of COVID restrictions. Even here in Nigeria, we had the COVID restrictions, though we had pharmacies who stayed open just to be able to meet the healthcare needs of the populace. And to that we say kudos to the pharmacists. But elsewhere, the world of medicine had to adapt to be able to meet the needs at that time, okay? And so a lot of industries are using these technological tools to innovate patient care and medication. It also will enable us to carry out further research and improve efficiency throughout the field of healthcare. The reason why it exists is basically to improve accuracy and safety, to use these tools to solve complex problems, and to be able to streamline operations through hardware and software advancements. You will find out that in our practice, in pharmacy practice, a lot of things are done manually or by word of mouth. But with these tools, it's a tool that's necessary if we're going to be innovative and creative. So pharmacy informatics is an emerging need for professionals who love pharmacy and also love technology, okay? And basically, it will help to leverage data to create better outcomes for the healthcare team and the clients. You know, sometimes when there's a bit of a clash between the healthcare professionals, some healthcare professionals believe that they own the patients, and others are just auxiliary team members. But we now realize that if we're going to give the patient the best care possible, everybody needs to be on board. Everybody needs to bring what they are bringing to the table so that patient care is optimal. Okay, so counseling informatics combines technological skills with a passion for medicine and data. So for some of you who may have not wanted to study pharmacy and you are here, you've been thinking, I like this technology. Maybe this is the niche for you. Maybe that's something you want to think about. That now that you have specialist information as a pharmacist, you can now leverage that specialist information and use it in combination with data to improve patient care. So, what is pharmacy informatics? Now, there are different definitions of what it is. Okay, so the American Society of Health System Pharmacists describes it as having 5 broad areas of responsibility. It talks about information management, knowledge delivery, data analytics, clinical informatics, and change management. Another association called the American Medical Informatics Association describes it as focusing on the intersection of informatics, technology, and medication management. Health Information and Management System Society describes it as a field that focuses on medication-related data, and knowledge within the continuum of health systems. So what is it all about? In simple terms, it is a specialized field that applies information technology to optimize, 1, medication-related processes, 2, enhance patient care within the pharmacy setting. It is also an area that improves how the health system works. Now, those in this profession create and modify electronic health records system. Now, I'm not too sure that is practically being done in most of our hospitals or academic areas, but it is a niche that we all need to look into and to begin to work towards. If you have a passion for data and you also have this background of pharmacy. So what are the key aspects of pharmacy informatics? 1 is data management. Another one is system development and implementation. We also have medication safety. We also have workflow optimization. We have data analysis and reporting, and communication and collaboration. Now, as a pharmacist, your job scope is cut out for you if you are in the academics, if you're in the hospital, or whichever pharmacy practice you find yourself. But all of this that you see is what is required in informatics. Now, if you're technologically deficient, this might be difficult for you to come into. So if you're thinking, oh, I love technology, you may need to improve your skills, just like Sunday reminded us. So what are the examples of some of these job roles that you carry out? You can be a pharmacy data analyst, where you analyze clinical data. We have a lot of data in the hospitals that's not being utilized to improve healthcare. Say, for example, you all remember our colleague that we lost? They're gone. And I felt really bad and thought to myself, I think we need to do a little more than the usual. Okay, of go, dispense, and just walk away. We need to look at it and ask ourselves, what do we need to do as pharmacists? And for those of you who have this passion for data or data science, this is a time now to look into it and say, what is wrong with the treatment regimen that is being used? Because people take this regimen and very few people actually come out of it. Okay? So it's an area that I think we also need to look at. Then we could also be a pharmacy administration specialist, and basically it's all about drug safety. It helps you to track the use and administration of medicines, it audits inventory and stock, and creates reports based on these findings to be shared within the healthcare setting. Now, I know that in the hospitals, we have what is called the pharmacovigilance unit. I have a few of my colleagues who are there, but the question is, are we seeing the output of some of these studies that they are doing? Because yes, they are keeping this data, but is it useful to anybody? Or is it useful just to advance our personal careers? So these are some of the things we can think about. As we get close to graduating and going into pharmacy practice, we need to begin to look out for some of these areas that are like redundant and see what we can do about it. You can decide to take up a project where you say, okay, for one particular group of antibiotics, you want to see what the treatment outcome has been over the past 5 years. Or maybe you're treating tuberculosis. We did a study with a colleague of mine in clinical pharmacy, and we wanted to see the trend over a period of about 10 years to see what it was like when they started treating people with tuberculosis and what the treatment outcome was 10 years after. That information is out there in the public space and can help improve healthcare because people will now begin to understand what the trend is. And so that's just a few examples of what can be done. I'm sure wherever you go, you'll find out a need. You'll find out loopholes. You'll find out cracks where people fall through because people didn't do what they were supposed to do. And that is an opportunity for you to tell yourself, what can I do about it? And so we have a number of career options. You could be an informatics pharmacist. You could be a clinical data analyst. You could be a pharmacy informatics analyst. You could also be a drug safety specialist. What's the importance in healthcare? It will enhance medication safety. Say, for example, somebody leaves the inpatient status and goes to outpatient status. How do you monitor their medications? I always tell the patients, when I tell you, you need to have an eye for detail, you need to to look out, for certain information. You will find out there are people who take our medications and just die. Because the last point of call in the hospital is the pharmacist. Or maybe it could even be the community practice. They come, they take medications, we go home and die. And that's it. There's no follow-up. There's nobody to question what happened. Did this person get the wrong dose? Did this person get the wrong medication? What exactly happened? So you can see that there will be enhanced medication safety because you can track it. I'm not too sure there are many hospitals that have these electronic health records, but I know a few private clinics here in town that have that. Because I've gone with patients to hospital and I find that we get to the pharmacy, they actually have a record of the medications. Though I did see a loophole there, most people were looking at those prescriptions, they were not looking to see if there was double prescriptions, they weren't looking for the prescription errors, they were just willing to just dispense the drugs that were prescribed. And at one such time, I went with one patient, I noticed that they were using brand names, not generic names. And so what happened was that they gave this same patient the same drug but with different brands. And I thought to myself, I called the pharmacist, I found out they were our students, and I said to them, you've got to do a little bit more than this, than just give it up. You can see from the records that this person already has this drug. Look at the number that was prescribed, look at her visit, her current visit. Do you think she would have finished the medication? Because she is not, she doesn't have that specialized knowledge that you have to know that, oh, this drug is the same as this drug. And so, guess what? The patient eventually died. She died. Yes, she was 82 years old, but she could have lived a much healthier life, a better lifestyle with good management. She died not only because of the medications, because they really didn't know what they were treating. They were treating every other thing. They would ask her, do this test, do that test, and all kinds of medications were being prescribed. Now, as a pharmacist, if you had those records, and there are apps that give you drug interactions. You can actually put 2 drugs, 3 drugs, 4 drugs, and tell it, and it will give you the answer. So there are tools available. People have worked on it and done that. Is that okay? And that's something we can do for our own local environment. Because with some of those tools during our COMD program, when we were running the program, we noticed that some of those tools didn't have some of the drugs that we were using in Nigeria. So even if you put it in, we don't recognize it. But that's something we can think about. We should start looking at our localizing these tools such that you can develop an app. We talk about collaboration. You can collaborate with somebody in IT. Because pharmacy informatics involves collaboration with IT specialists. Because they know about the databases, they know how to design, they know about the hardware and the software, and you tell them what you want, because you are the specialist. You can tell them what you want, and they can design that app to be able to do what you should do. Is that okay? And because you understand it, you'll be able to tell whether or not it is going to work or won't work. And that also improves workflow. Workflow, because information now can be easily disseminated from one healthcare professional to another. Bottom line, your patient gets the optimal care because all of this is being done. So there's increased efficiency and cost reduction. Cost reduction, because now you will find out that instead of drugs going out of stock or drugs expiring, you can actually track how medications are being used. This can't be done manually. There are too many departments within the hospital setting for you to be able to track. But if you had a database where all the drugs that are being used within a particular time period you have them in one database, it's easy to track it. It's easy to be able to find out what is low in stock. It's easy to find out what is about to expire. And it's easy to also know some of the drugs that are not useful at all. Because sometimes in farm camp, we ask some of the hospitals to give us some of their expired drugs and some of the drugs that are going off soon. And we use them for our practicals. But then that means a lot of money is being wasted because nobody is keeping track of it. And the attitude is that, after all, it's the government. Because if it was a private institution, nobody would allow that to happen, isn't it? But we can add value. And our value as pharmacies will be felt when we go to such healthcare settings and begin to suggest and to carry out, research that will actually improve patient healthcare. Because at the end of the day, it won't be that you just dispense this drug. We are actually adding value. So that's something for us to think about. So what does an informatics pharmacist do? The pharmacist works within the field of health informatics to oversee patient care related to medication. They examine patient data points like dosage, drug interactions, contraindications, and often pharmacy informatics works with electronic health records to simplify communication between patients, pharmacies, and providers. And sometimes, let's not think about the large hospital setting. We can start that from a small community practice, where all the people who come to the pharmacy practice regularly have their records in your database. They come in and they tell you, and bring a prescription that you have already filled out. You can easily track it and say, no, you were here just last week and we filled out this prescription. That also is another way of stopping drug abuse, because that way you can track it. So let's not think about a sophisticated setting. Let's look at even a basic small area of practice. Maybe it's even when you went for your, extension, or you decide to spend some time in one pharmacy, add value to it. Think about it. What are the challenges that they are having in that pharmacy? How can you use your specialist knowledge and your passion for data to improve, that practice? So this creates an opportunity for faster prescription fulfillment and reduces the margin for error. And sometimes it's easier. How many of you, sometimes if you're on the platform that we are on, people send prescriptions and say, what drug is this? Because they cannot read the doctor's handwriting. But with electronic health records, it's easy for you to know what the drug is and to be able to quickly check the information that you need to check. You don't have to try to read the scribbles. Is that okay? Informatics pharmacists also study data points on a bigger scale, searching for ways to optimize healthcare information systems and software technologies. They often work alongside IT professionals to improve or revamp the technological systems that keep patient records. If you go to most hospitals, if you don't have help, you can go there and you cannot find your card. You cannot find, not even if you have the number. You give them the number, they cannot find the card. Or you have to stay long hours to be able to find your card before you can get to see the physician. So these are some of the areas. As I speak, I believe you begin to imagine the scenario in the healthcare setting and to begin to see areas and opportunities for you to develop yourself. So in addition to being proficient data analysts, pharmacy informaticists or informaticians, as some would say, must also have excellent communication skills. You have to mean what you say. Sometimes we speak the Nigerian English. We tell them, just take it. Take it in the morning, take it in the evening. But we didn't tell them how to take it. You have to have good communication skills. During my internship, I know someone who swallowed a pessary. You know what a pessary is? If you don't know, go and look it up. She swallowed it because she wasn't told that it wasn't meant to be taken orally. So we must have good communication skills. And sometimes, even in our collaboration with the healthcare team, there's a way we talk to each other that makes the other person know that we want to add value. We don't say because we are PharmD graduates now, you go to the hospital and you begin to say, I'm a doctor. This is Dr. Patricia Udumosu. I'm a pharmacist, doctor of pharmacy. No, you're a pharmacist. You have specialized knowledge that only you have. And so you must take up that role seriously. You must begin to work on your own lane. There's so much to do that we don't need to want to go and diagnose diseases. It's important to understand the pathology of the diseases, but that's not our main focus. We are medication specialists. Let's get to know as much as we need to know about the medications that our patients take. And we have the privilege of being the last point of call when patients come into the hospital or come to the pharmacy practice because we're the last group of people they speak with before they go home. They either go home to get well or go home to die. Is that okay? So we need to have excellent communication skills. They are also often tasked with sharing their findings with other healthcare professionals, breaking down complex medicinal and technical information into actionable steps for improvement. Even with the healthcare team, there's a way to talk to people. Nice way. Don't you think, or do you think, maybe we can look at it this way? Not that this drug is overdose. This is an overdose, and of course, whoever it is you're talking to gets really upset, isn't it? Because the person can tell you, go ahead and dispense. Well, there's a story about this pharmacist in the US who had to be sanctioned because he had a drug that was prescribed for a patient. The patient actually shouldn't have taken it because he knew the contraindications. He mentioned it to the physician. The physician said, go ahead and give it. And it was like, you shouldn't give. This wouldn't work for this patient. Let's give you an alternative. And the physician just didn't want to, and the physician said, go ahead and prescribe. And the patient died. And so the question is, who was responsible for that patient's death? Is it the pharmacist or the physician? Why do you say it's the physician? Yeah, but the pharmacist, and so the pharmacist was sanctioned because he was told that he had specialist knowledge. He should have known that this was not an appropriate dose to give the patient. So he shouldn't have. And so it was the pharmacist that was sanctioned. So time is coming when we will be going to court because somebody dies, or the wrong medication was given, or the wrong dose was given, or there was some drug interaction, and we didn't note it, we didn't find it out. So we've got to be careful about that. So the goal is to improve the quality of medicinal data that's available to providers and pharmacists, and to create better ways to share that data with the necessary parties. And what are the prospects? The prospect is promising. As this field continues to grow, more job opportunities will become available. Now, this is a US data. I'm not too sure if we have any pharmacists, informaticists in Nigeria, maybe boarding ones, people who have interest in it, but I don't think there's any person who has a job as a pharmacy informaticist. Okay, so the current average salary for this role is nearly $130,000 US, and higher rates are available for those who have specialized training and certifications. How do you become a pharmacy informaticist? In the US, you need to earn a Doctor of Pharmacy degree, complete 2 years of residency, apply for licensure as a pharmacist, because in the US, every state in the US requires pharmacists to be licensed. So the University of Findlay in Ohio also has several graduate degree options available, including a Master of Science in Health Informatics that can give you that opening into the field. For those who are interested in traveling, you may want to look at that. There are other institutions, but I think they have a good program, okay, based on what they say on their website. Okay, so there are various certifications. You can have certification as an associate in healthcare information and management system. You can have a certified professional certificate in healthcare information and management system. You can have another one as the American Society of Health Systems Pharmacists Informatics Certificate. There are several. You can have project management. You can have Cisco Certified Networking Professional. Now, Cisco, we have a program here in the University of Jos. If you're interested and you're thinking, I have a passion for data science, you may want to consider running one of their programs, the Cisco programs. Okay, so in conclusion, I want to say that it is an emerging field that provides a host of opportunities for those interested in leveraging technology with a passion for medicine and data. A career in pharmacy informatics allows one to step outside the traditional pharmaceutical careers and become a pharmacist innovator who shapes the future of medicinal information and patient care. Thank you. These are some of the references. If you're really interested in pharmacy informatics, look at this website, Pharmacy Informatics Academy. They have a few free courses you can register for. They have quite a number of information, quite a lot. So if you really want to have an insight into what the profession is all about, check out this Pharmacy Informatics Academy. They have free courses and quite. They have videos, we have podcasts, just name it, blogs. So look at it and then you can start working towards it. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Well, thank you very much, ma'am, for a wonderful presentation. Just give us the molecular structure, introduction of pharmacy informatics. So if you have questions, you can note them down. We have a panel session, so you have to attend to the questions the next time. We'll be moving right to introducing the second speaker, who is no other person but pharmacist Emmanuel Oga. I'll be reading his citation. Right, for you guys just coming in, we just finished the first part of our symposium led by Professor Odumosu Patricia, where she gave an introduction on pharmacy informatics. So I'll be introducing the second speaker for today, who is pharmacist Emmanuel Oga. He graduated from the University of Jos in 2008 and has since evolved into an accomplished business leader with experience in healthcare, business development, operations, and supply chain management. He has a proven track record of driving growth, implementing innovative business strategies, and leading high-performing teams across various sectors of the healthcare industry. Following his B.Pharm degree, he obtained a master's in business administration from Exeter Business School and a doctorate in business administration with focus on operations and supply chain management from the Lagos Business School of the Pan-Atlantic University. He also holds certificate from the Senior Management Program at the Lagos Business School and the Entrepreneur Ecosystems for Inclusive Innovation. Responsible for business in Nigeria and the rest of West Africa and before. Then he was National Sales Manager at May and Baker Nigeria PLC. These roles, he successfully led national and regional teams to grow market share for various brands. He spearheaded transformation initiatives that optimize business performance strategies. He also spearheaded the team to improve in the Industrial Pharmacies of Nigeria, NAI, and the Center for Applied Research and Innovation Supply Chain, Africa. Pharmacist Emmanuel enjoys traveling, watching football, Libya, Arsenal fan, and listening to audiobooks during his spare time. Let's give a round of applause for
Thank you so much for that introduction. Good morning again, everyone. Our dear professors, it's always such a joy to see you. What he said, you know I was guilty of it. The best way for you to stay quiet in class was just avoid her. Because the more she knows you, the more you answer questions. Right? So it is, if you do not read well before that class, just find one corner to hide. Right? I'm not saying it's a good thing, don't copy my example. Right, good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. And thank you for being here again. It was good having this conversation, starting this conversation yesterday. And I got a couple of feedback from our president. I'm happy that a lot of us feel better about the profession, and even more importantly, about what we are doing this time. I think this topic couldn't have been better for a time like this, given the direction the profession is going in. Right. So as I speak through this, I'm going to apologize beforehand. I just found out I was supposed to share a slide. I was not told, so I'm going to share the blame with the president. But I'm going to send my slides. I actually had a slide, but I thought it was going to be a panel session, Right? So I didn't prepare for it. So I'll just pick through my notes, right? And hopefully we can engage, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. So before I speak on this, maybe a little background on maybe what gives me the pedestal to talk about the topic. My topic is medication management systems, optimizing safety and efficiency. Of course, after leaving UJ, I started work in the hospital, and then I moved into pharma sales and marketing. But at some point, I got interested in something outside pharmaceutical marketing, right? And so, just before COVID, I didn't know COVID was coming, but just before COVID, I picked up an interest in pharmtech, in the tech space, health tech, right? So, I got approached by a couple of companies. One of them, Visitor, wanted to set up a company called shop in Nigeria. They needed a country head. Right. And then as I tried to help them set up their operations in Nigeria, the more it made sense to me that this is something we can do in Nigeria. Right? There's a lot of opportunity for us in this space. So I helped them set up, they registered in the country, but I barely worked with them because as I was starting, another health tech company came to me and doubled the pay that they were offering me. Right? So at some point, and you will all get to that point, at some point, money will be more important to you. Right? Yes. Yeah, the love of the job. So when you get to that point, my advice to you, take it. Okay, sir. Right? That's my advice to you. Yes. Because there's a part of your life where you need to build and stabilize. After that, remember what I said yesterday, pursue value, then chase your passion. When you pursue value, you can chase your passion fully. You can support your passion. Okay? But you want to make sure you are well rewarded because in this part of the country, it is easy for people to undervalue you. So if you do not price yourself well, you'll be priced out of the market. Anyways, to cut the long story short, I got another offer. That paid me handsomely, was paying me in USD. I was living in Nigeria, and then COVID came. So it just made a whole lot of sense for me. I just felt, okay, God wanted me to be in this space. Because when COVID came, while the pharma companies were struggling to do business, for the tech companies, it was a boom period. That time, we were highly what to do and how we are going to help improve what to do and how we are going to help improve medicine security in Nigeria, and something I'm committed to, right? So that's the story of my life and how I am currently at Scigen. Please, it's Scigen, Science for Generations. You saw my colleague nearly bite your head off when he said Scigen, Science for Generations. That's what we do. We are all about developing medicines, and not just for today, but for tomorrow and for Africans in particular. All right, so having bored you with that history, I'm just going to go straight to talk about what I was invited to talk about. Medication management systems, optimizing safety and efficiency. What is a medication management system? I'm sure it sounds pretty straightforward, right? Medication management systems are approaches that streamline the processes of not just medications, but how that entire process flows from the prescriber up till the last person that is in contact with the patient. And I like what Prof said. Ultimately, right, the pharmacist, in your position as a pharmacist, especially in the line of patient care, you are responsible for medications that get to patients. The doctors can write, every other person can do their own, but you are responsible. And I like that Prof called it out straight up. So that we don't live here and have that mindset that, well, if the doctor does it, I will do my own and I will leave. Right? There's something she said that I've never thought of before now. When the patient leaves the pharmacist, the patient leaves to either go home and survive or to go home and die. I'm sure all of us here would rather that our patients will leave us, will go home and live and survive and not to die. Right? So that's what essentially we'll be talking about in medication management systems. Now, beyond being comprehensive approaches that help to follow that process, that journey from a prescription up to when patients get their product, right? Medication management systems practically secure the backbone of everything everybody in health is doing. So from when the patient walks in, again, my time at Helium Health, right? That's the name of the company. When during that time, what we thought of was how do we develop a product that effectively takes care of patients and improves the quality of service. So we sat down and thought of the patient's journey. So the patient leaves their house, right? As the patient leaves their house, it gets to the hospital. What are the pain points? The first pain point is that the patient gets to the hospital and then they start looking for card. So the first thing we did was to make sure we found a way to erase that card system. That's the first thing, right? And then the next thing we did was, after they talk of card and everything, they get their card, they get connected to the doctors. What happens? The doctor will now start looking through their file. They will be reading their file and then they see handwriting. And we all know that medical practitioners in Nigeria are not exactly the best when it comes to handwriting. So even doctors themselves, they struggle with what their colleagues write, right? So they are looking through the file and then they see what somebody has written. Sometimes the doctor is seeing 100 patients, 150 patients, right, a day, and he's not sure what this person is writing, so he will scribble his own and just add, right, and add to the file, and then you see patients carry bulk and bulk and bulk of files. So we decided, okay, the next step in this journey will be to erase files, right? And so in erasing files, we are going to develop a system that enables the doctor, pharmacist, that once you type in the name of the patient, you see what the history of that patient, right? That's essentially electronic health record I'm talking about. You see the details of the patient, the past history of the patient, the past interaction the patient has had, right? And then you see the medications that the patient is taking, and then are there rooms for interaction? You see all of that, okay? And then what's the next step? After that, the patient goes home. When the patient goes home to take medications, the next thing the patient starts battling with, and for you as a pharmacist, you are concerned that if this patient is taking medication, how am I sure he's taking the right medication? So we added another part to the platform, reminders to the patient, right, for you to take your medications. So we essentially just thought of that journey. And then sometimes patients are due for repeat visits. So we also added a bot to the system to ensure that when the patient is due for a repeat hospital visit, he gets alerted maybe a week ahead. Something like, prepare your calendar. Just a friendly message, prepare your calendar. You are meeting with doctor so and so in 1 week time, right? And then the patient goes to see the doctor. On the side of the doctor too, we are also sending the doctor a reminder that this patient you saw 3 months ago, right, or last month is due for a repeat visit. Do you want to catch up on the patient history? And the doctor can just do that with you. That is how far technology has helped in improving medication management system, in improving healthcare overall, right? And so one of the first things I tried to do within that team was to ensure that we got Nigerian hospitals onboarded. But of course, it's a difficult thing to get Nigerian hospitals to get onboard. And the time it took me to get 100 hospitals in Nigeria, right? I probably got in like 300 hospitals in Kenya. And while we were at it, when COVID came, the government of the UAE set up a full building, called us and said, you know what, we like what you're doing in Nigeria, we're giving you a free office space, come and set up, right? And then we went to, we opened offices in GCC states, right, the Gulf country states. So we had an office in Qatar, in UAE, we had an office in Oman, in Saudi Arabia. That is what tech can do, right? And this is me as a pharmacist that did not learn jack about that. In fact, the first laptop I had was when I started working. I bought a second hand. Right? For my defense, what I did was to borrow a classmate's laptop and then prepared whatever defense I could prepare. But the good thing with the University of Jos, I said in this faculty. I hope this faculty is still a welcoming home to all some. Right? I hope we have not evolved negatively into a classist society that, you know, some people feel they are rich and privileged, and then we have some other students struggling. During my time, people like us who could not afford textbooks, We could book textbook time with other people, right? So that's the journey around my text speech. So what makes up medication management system? All of the story I told you about taking the patient's journey, right, from when the patient walks into the end, is basically electronic health records, right? Electronic health records. That's what makes up that entire journey. And you heard Prof talk about it. Not a lot of hospitals in Nigeria are still doing it, right? A lot of people still struggle. For every time I had to get a teaching hospital or a big hospital involved, it involved practically getting up to the governor's desk to talk about it. That's how difficult it is. Because when you start talking about it, the next thing they're saying is, how do we get approval for it? It's a lot of work. But that's a challenge that as a new pharmacist, you have to take up, right? Not just because of the techie aspect, but because it makes your job a lot easier. It makes your job of improving healthcare a lot easier. It makes your job of delivering service and helping that patient to survive. It makes it a lot easier. So what are the types of medication management systems we have? We have the electronic medication management system. This is just data technology where everything that is needed is imputed into the electronic health record of the patient. And so you see everything about the patient's drug history, the interaction of the patient, the advice from other practitioners, and even AI adding some support to you in terms of what you know from pharmacists. Your knowledge is not exhaustive, right? So even AI comes to add to say, okay, can you do this about this? How can you improve this? So that's one, electronic medication management system. The next one is the medication therapy management. Medication therapy management. So you've given the patient medication. How do you manage that system, right? The medication therapy management is patient-centered. So it's for a particular patient. So when you go in and you register the name of the patient as Mr. XAP, right? The system automatically pulls out a separate data process for that patient. And then you see how each patient is managed specific to that patient. That's the way the world is going. And as pharmacists of today, that is how we should be thinking. So, for pharmacy students of today, there is no excuse for us to say, oh, I'm not tech savvy. The world is going to leave you behind. If you were here yesterday, you heard what I said. It is not an option. The world is going to leave you behind. If the world is advancing towards this stage, and then you are just comfortable because in Nigeria, hospitals are not accepting it. Yes, you may be king of the jungle in Nigeria, but guess what? Guess what? The time you have to go, right? The time you now have to go and compare with your colleagues from outside, you are now going to be looking very, very irrelevant. Remember what I said yesterday, the price of not learning is paid, the cost of not learning is paid irrelevance. You become irrelevant and refuse to develop yourself, right? We have automated medication dispensing systems. In certain aspects of the world now, you have robots going to dispense, right? So that thing that pharmacists used to brag about here in Nigeria, that, oh, we are the ones that dispense. Guess what? One robot is doing it somewhere. And the robot is as petty. Some of them, gone are the days that robots even used to be life-size and all. These days, they're just a small toy that moves around. When it gets to you, calls your name, passes over your medications, and these things are already happening. These things are already happening, right? So, are you staying in touch? How are you working to ensure that you are relevant to the world that is coming? Well, not everything is even about tech. Remember what we are talking about? It's medication management system. There's something as simple as pill organizers. I'm sure we've seen simple pill organizers. Unfortunately, my slide is not here, but I'll share it later. So you can follow up with the president to pick it up. You can hold you responsible. Right? So pill organizers help the patients to basically arrange their pills. You want somebody taking Oxacit, for instance. The person is going to be taking omeprazole, erythromycin, tinidazole, right? Morning and evening. Pill organizers help at the pharmacy level. You just arrange that thing for the patient. Morning, evening, morning, evening, morning, evening. And then you drop it at the patient's bedside. Or you give the patient to take home, right? 1 week later, the patient returns with that pill dispenser. 1 week later. And then you do the same arrangement. But guess what that does for you? You are confident that your patient is not going to end up taking double dosage of tinidazole. right? He's not going to end up taking 2 capsules of erythromycin because you just told him take 3, like Paul said. He said take morning, take evening. You have just said take now, the person is going to take, right? But you have not said, oh, swallow. In the same way, there's a real risk that we tell the patient, oh, take 3 tablets in the morning, take 3 tablets in the evening. And then the patient looks at it, okay, 3 in the morning, and then carries 3 erythromycin to take in the morning. And right, so something as simple as field organizers, they have become the mission about them. Reduce medication errors. That is what we want. Ultimately, as pharmacists,